everyone, it is Dani and welcome to this update video this morning. I hope you're enjoying your morning thus far, and we're going to be talking about what is happening across the Atlantic, with focus being on the Caribbean and surrounding areas. So there is a front which is in the region. It is impacting parts of the US as well as Canada, and it stretches into the Caribbean. We can see all that convection, so we're going to be talking about that, the rainfall forecast for today. Additionally, the models are showing something very interesting for the next several days, so I want to talk about that as well. But let's zoom more into the region here. So we can see parts of the Northwest Caribbean as well as the Bahamas and Florida, and the front has been impacting these areas, and it's getting quite disheveled compared to yesterday. But there has been some thunderstorm activity and some periods of heavy rain across the northwestern Bahamas. You can let me know what's been happening for your area. Things are a bit quieter for the southern islands as well as the Turks and Caicos Islands, and across portions of Cuba there is some inclement weather conditions, similar story for the Yucatan. Let's see more of the Caribbean. Here we can see that there's all this convection in the vicinity of the Cayman Islands, parts of Honduras, and even Jamaica. But for Jamaica today, unfortunately, I know that many of us are longing for the rain. It's been very dry across some areas, but it seems as though most of the activity is going to be remaining to the west of the island. But it has been impacting the Cayman Islands, some heavy rain and even some thunderstorms as well, especially last night. Looking over to Central America, we can also see that there's quite a bit of activity for some countries. It's not very widespread right now. However, some areas may experience a lot of heavy rainfall over the next couple of days, so that accumulation in rain is likely to induce some significant flooding, and we'll be talking about that. Looking to the eastern islands, we're not seeing anything major happening. However, with these patches of clouds coming in from the east, there may be some showers moving through at times, some intermittent showers. And as we look at the rainfall forecast here, we can see what Euro is expecting through to the very early morning hours of tomorrow. Now we're seeing some of these shades of purples and those pinks popping up. We're heading towards 2.5 going up to 4 inches with some of these colors here across portions of Mexico, Guatemala, even looking towards Honduras, the Bay Islands as well, potentially for the coast of Costa Rica and southeast Nicaragua. We can see some of those burgundy and purple shadings popping up. But overall, this map is looking very colorful for Central America and even the offshore islands of San Andres and Providencia, as well as the Cayman Islands. So there are likely to be some periods of heavy rain, additional heavy rainfall as we head throughout today, and that may trigger flooding. Similar story across most of the Bahamas. Is looking quite colorful up there. But for portions of Cuba, Jamaica, yes, there may be some rainfall, even some heavy downpours in some isolated spots, but nothing crazy is forecast for the day. Similar story for Hispaniola and even Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. And for most of the Lesser Antilles, maybe some passing showers at times, which may be substantial for some areas. We are seeing Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, and even St. Lucia being in that yellow shade in there. So there may be a bit more rainfall for those areas compared to the rest of the islands. We'll see how that goes. For sections of Trinidad, some rainfall is expected. Also for Tobago and the ABC Islands, especially Bonaire and Curacao. Northern South America may not experience too much, but for portions of Colombia and even the Guyanas, there may be some substantial rainfall through today. So that is what is expected, guys. And so now we're taking a look at what models have to show. We're kickstarting things with the GFS model here. There we have the time, and all these colors, they represent the precipitation rate. So let's go out. This is as we head later into this week, going into tomorrow and into Wednesday. We see all of that moisture over in the Western Caribbean and in the Gulf. Then we see that airflow pressure forming all of that activity associated with that next front, and that one may actually bring impacts to more islands in the Caribbean, such as Jamaica, potentially for Hispaniola and Puerto Rico as well. But this is bound to change, guys, because it is a forecast, and it is as we're going to be heading into the early to middle part of next week. How about the Icon model? Icon is showing all that moisture as well in the Western Caribbean. So that accumulation in rain, as I said, a lot of rainfall expected for parts of Central America, which may induce some widespread flooding. Eventually, we see that rainfall increase across the Gulf, and ICON also expects that area of low pressure to form and all of that activity moving through, coupled with another system. So ICON in agreement with that. And then finally, the Euro model it has been very consistent about this happening actually for some time now, and that is what we're seeing come into fruition in terms of the front, which is currently affecting the region. We see all that increase in moisture this weekend, that area of low pressure form, and then another area of low pressure moving through. So we can see that the models are pretty much in agreement with this happening, and it will be very interesting to see how this plays out. But across portions of the Northwest Caribbean as well as Florida and the Bahamas, we could see quite a bit in terms of the rainfall increase. And with the El Nino pattern, we typically have more storm systems moving through portions of the southern U.S. So this is not really surprising to see, because that is the pattern that is set up for this year. So we'll see how that goes. Of course, I'll continue to keep you guys posted. And that is pretty much it for this update. I hope you found it to be quite informative. But if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll respond when I can. And remember to always be weatherwise.